How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Have a good day today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Would you like me over here for now or up here next to you?
Yeah, come on up here, David. Come on up here. My remarks are very short. I want them to hear from you guys. Good afternoon, everybody. Great
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Great things keep happening in Lincoln every day. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Good to see you again. David Newman is up here with me, with Newman Development Group. And you know David Landis with our Urban Development Department. But what I'm talking about is just things keep popping day after day in Lincoln, Nebraska. And they just start happening faster and faster. Yesterday, I opened 6 new tennis courts, indoor tennis courts, ended a big public-private campaign that worked out very nicely. Then I went out to Willard Community Center and a group of private citizens with a little help from the city, completely renovating Willard Center, which means the West A Street area will have another element of renovation right in the center of it, which will help us move forward in the neighborhoods. This morning I was out at Kawasaki. They've just announced a partnership with Boeing, and we'll start producing parts to the new airplanes Boeing's making out there at Kawasaki. Could be a huge, huge deal for the community. More people, more rentals, more.
It's great.
But right now, at this moment, maybe the best thing of all at this particular point in time, we're here to provide some details on the City Center project, which is a new 9-story mixed-use building at P Street, on P Street between 9th and 10th. The existing main building on that site has housed the Lincoln Journal-Star newsroom and business operations since 1951. Once those operations relocate, the building will be completely demolished to make room for the $92 million mixed-use project. The Newman Development Group plans include street-level retail, 2 levels of office space, and 5 levels of residential space with rooftop amenities to go along with that and underground parking. Downtown Lincoln is indeed experiencing historic changes at an historic pace, and this great project is one more step in that transformation. With our iconic sports venues and several beautiful high-rises like this one, the entrance to the city becomes more impressive every day. And I want to thank David and his entire development team, the architects who I heard from yesterday, just amazing, and some of the business calculations were amazing to hear. There are a lot of good things about our city that you don't really find out about until guys like this dig out the details and let you know what it looks like from a particular perspective. But this project supports the downtown master plan by continuing the vibrant P Street retail corridor to 9th Street and by providing additional downtown housing. The city's Marketplace Garage and a small commercial bank will remain on the block. The Journal-Star will continue to print the newspaper at its production building on Q Street as it identifies other space for its news and business operations. The project's expected to include about $78.5 million in private investment, which is expected to generate about $13.5 million in tax increment financing, which the city will contribute for public improvements. Lincoln Lancaster County Planning Commission has already approved the project. The Urban Design Committee, Nancy, is expected to review the project next month, and the City Council is expected to review and vote on a redevelopment agreement sometime in July of this year, of course. Construction may begin as soon as this fall, with completion expected in the summer of 2019. Do we have that right?
I'm sorry, construction will probably be completed late 19, early 2020.
Okay. We'll let you supply all those details. All right. In addition to Newman Development Group, the development team includes WDG, an architectural planning and design firm based in Dallas and Washington, D.C. WDG is working with local professionals from Sinclair Hilly and Olson Associates on various site improvements. So with that, David, to my right, why don't you give us some additional information about what you guys are doing?
Thank you, Mayor.
We'll just turn these around.
Great.
and show these.
So, Mayor, thanks very much for that introduction. And I want to start by saying something that I had conveyed yesterday, which is Lincoln is really a fantastic city in so many ways, but there's really, it's really a true credit to the city and the mayor and the staff that's here and the entire team. We've had the good fortune of working in many, many cities around the country, and I can tell you Lincoln is really at the top of the list, truly, in terms of a pro-business, smart growth stance that we really appreciate. And we've had a terrific working relationship with the city so far. Everybody at every level has just shown the spirit of cooperation with smart growth, which we really appreciate. And it's just been a great experience, and looking forward to, as the mayor said, a groundbreaking coming soon. So we're thrilled to be in Lincoln. We think it's a terrific city. We think Lincoln is really just warming up in its growth stage. We see so many great things that are happening. As you can see from the renderings that are here, and the mayor mentioned some of the facts about the building, but the building, we believe, is really at an iconic location, a real gateway location to the city itself, certainly coming in from the north, and certainly the gateway to the Haymarket. And, with a terrific team of folks who we've assembled, including Tom Houston from Klein Williams, as the mayor mentioned, WDG Architecture, and other local folks like Olson Associates, Sampson, our brokers who we're working with, Craig Foreman and Todd Lorenz from Home Real Estate. We have a great team put together to really develop a project that everybody can take a lot of pride in for many, many years to come. So the project that you see was developed with all of those elements in mind. And as the mayor had said, it has ground floor retail, 2 levels of planned office, and 238 apartment units. We really believe that we're bringing something to Lincoln that it's certainly timely. It's a world-class project with terrific design and really beautiful, terrific amenities. So we feel that the location is just terrific in terms of our residents, our tenants on the commercial side can take advantage of really all the local amenities that are there in the Haymarket. And we think it's going to be a very successful project. When we go into a city, we're very conservative. We're very careful about coming to a city where we think we're going to have a project that's going to be very, very successful. So in that regard, with respect to the residential units, we've done a lot of analysis. As the mayor had mentioned yesterday, we did a presentation through a fellow that we use who does really very significant market research. And we've really vetted Lincoln very well. And we know we're going to be very successful here. And we're looking forward to being part of a great community. So with that, again, thank you, Mayor. We appreciate all of everybody's support here, and looking forward to being here.
Thank you for coming to town. We appreciate the
Thank
fact
you.
that you're here. David,
Thank
wanna
you.
say a few words?
Well, I'm just thrilled that somebody's doing vetting so very, very well. That's great.
Thanks.
As the Urban Development Department Director, charged with the responsibility to build this city in the way that reflects the mayor's values and his vision, this project represents the zenith of two trends that are important to look at. I would imagine that you, like I, have had a visitor or friends who've come back to Lincoln after years away. Uniformly, they say this town is different. The skyline is different. The energy is different. In those days, they would have come into the airport. They would have taken Cornhusker Highway as we used to know it. They would have taken the leg of the interstate in. They would have seen Memorial Stadium on the left. They would have seen the back of house of the Journal Star operations and the dumpsters and the places where they, move in trucks and take their printing presses and the like. And they would have made their way into Lincoln, Nebraska. Today, they get out and they journey down an entryway that is now landscaped beautifully. They see Memorial Stadium on the left, but they also see Pinnacle Bank on the right, the arena. They see the Haymarket. They see the West Haymarket. And now, when they come down that slope, they're going to see this building. This building, which will be startling. It will be attractive. It is, in fact, I think, charismatic. If a building can be, this qualifies. It is a very different signal to our visitors who have been enjoying in the last 10 years this revitalization of the city. And this is a culminating fact in that. That's the first trend that I want to reflect on, the change of the city visually and as a matter of energy. Secondly, we need to remember that David and the Newman Development Group is $1 billion national developer. They do projects anywhere they want to because they have that reach and that capacity, and they've chosen us. We have every reason to be very grateful for local developers that are doing the Lumberworks Liner building, that are doing the 2 hotels at 9th and O Street. But we're also glad that Chris Erickson has come down from Omaha to do the 48th and Holdridge project, that Richardson Schaefer's come down from Minneapolis to do the 48th and Holdridge project, and that we've had the Arizona and California developers who've come in to do the Kindler Hotel, and now David, located in New York, brings with him a Washington, D.C. nationally known architecture firm to build this building. It will be the single most, the largest investment, private investment in a single building in the history of the city of Lincoln. And the building itself matches and shows and demonstrates that kind of investment. We have moved from being very grateful for a group of talented local developers. We've continued to work with them, but this city has drawn the attention of developers now on not a regional but a national scale. And that trend is worth noting. Congratulations to David and congratulations to the mayor.
Okay, questions?
Can you repeat how large this building is going to be? I know you said 9 stories, but like, talking square space, how big is it going to be?
Do you know, I finally talked David into the values of great architecture. Did you hear him just now? Finally. A convert. But your
No more Quonset huts. I'm done with Quonset huts.
Your question invites a response from either the utilitarian side or the architecture side. Fine, you want to come on? Come on. Yeah. Talk a little bit about your architecture and your idea and the space too. However you guys want to divide it up, of course.
The answer to the question is
If you could use the microphone.
Oh, sure. So the answer to the question is about 435,000 gross square feet in the building. So there's approximately 30,000 square feet of retail. Chime in, there's about 70 to 80,000 square feet of office space on 2 levels. And then there's 6 levels of residential, and there's actually a 10th story that is the amenity level at the top of the building.
And is this one of the largest buildings to be built in downtown Lincoln?
6.
Not with the 9 stories.
Correct.
I read somewhere that this is going to compete with one of the largest residential type buildings with over 200 apartment spaces. Is that true that it's one of the most, it's going to hold the most spaces aside from, I think I read, university housing?
So, I'll jump in.
Sure. Come
Yeah,
speak with,
sure.
to the microphone, please.
So I'm not sure what project you're referring to. The way we look at it is based on the market research firm that I had mentioned previously. They see actually a significant deficit in the amount of units that are in Lincoln to service the demand. So our studies show that there's over 1,200 additional units right now, not based on additional growth, but as of the employment base and the population right now. So, you know, our 238 proposed units is just filling a certain gap of that deficit. And quite honestly, with respect to, you know, the other projects that Dave had mentioned, you know, I'm not terribly familiar with them, but, you know, it's, the way we feel about it is in a city like Lincoln, there's so many things that are going on here. It's kind of the rising tide lifts all boats, and with so much activity, more activity coming in like that, we actually think is good. We really do, whether they're in our space, so to speak, or not. You know, with things like Kawasaki going on that the mayor mentioned, and, you know, all of the software startups that everybody's aware of, you know, we think it's only going to get better.
If I understand it correctly, these weren't designed specifically to compete with the cheaper student housing units, right?
Yeah.
They're a special place in the market.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, just to be very clear. So this is not student housing, right? So our firm actually also develops student housing. And, you know, one would think, given the proximity to the university, that this would be a natural student housing site. So this is the kind of project that we're actually doing in other places around the country where it's not student housing, it's not directed, it's not marketed like student housing, like, you know, some of the other folks who are in town. It's market rate apartments. We actually think that we're going to have really very little students who live here. But it's definitely, it feeds off the university, if you will, and, you know, all of the folks associated with the university, and of course, everything else that's going on in the city.
You're talking about studio to 2 bedrooms?
Yeah, Studio 1 and 2, yes. And again, Mayor, I think, also to follow on your question, I think from a competitive standpoint, if you will, you know, this is a project that will have higher rents, quite frankly, than many of the other projects that are in the city. But, you know, as I had mentioned earlier, you know, this is going to be a very well amenitized project with lots of services. Quite frankly, the rooftop amenity package, you know, we think is going to be spectacular. So, you know, despite higher rents, we think there's still a lot of value.
Can you give us a hint of what might be on the rooftop?
Sure. So we're looking at a rooftop swimming pool. In this area here that Bob had mentioned, this is, we'll call it the 10th floor, which is a partial portion of the building. There'll be a fitness center in there which overlooks the Haymarket and the city. It's really going to be spectacular. Over here in this area, we're planning on a large indoor clubhouse area and also an outdoor clubhouse area that, you know, will have outdoor seating overlooking the stadium. I understand with the big screen, you can actually watch the game up there, which would be pretty amazing. Also, on the other side of the building, actually shown on this rendering, really more so along the line of P Street, the corner of 9th and P, we're planning an outdoor amenity space for the office tenants, exclusively served by an elevator from the offices. So, you know, office tenants can host corporate events on the roof, or even just as simple as going up on a nice day for lunch, you know, for folks who work in the firms that will be in the building.
You know, sometime when they're ready to discuss it with you, I think it'd be interesting to do a story on the idea of how many amenities are being afforded under this new concept. I mean, it's like you can have almost anything done for you if you want them.
You got the microphone, and I think you're getting the third base coach. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. Third base
here I'm
coach.
admonishing
Yes,
everybody, and
I
I'm,
know.
well, it wasn't a part of the news conference. I was just suggesting that there's an interesting concept here. It's a little bit new for Lincoln, to the best of my knowledge. And it would be good to inform the public of it at some point. All right, anything else? Thank you very much.